So, one thing that I've been trying to figure out. Do you know why a lot of times when Paco does the real fast ones, his fingers splay out a little bit?
There's a little bit of tension.
Where's it coming from? Is it like a wrist thing? Is it
just
this?
when you do the wrist? See? And he also does that sometimes. That's because of the engagement. The same thing that Kevin was telling you here. So here. See? This relax. When you go here, see? It separates a little bit. Because there's a tiny bit of compensation. Depending of how much resistance you have.
Is it driven by spreading the fingers? Or is it driven by like the wrists? Or maybe a bit of both?
Yes. When you lower the wrist, it immediately opens.
The engagement.
Show it again.
The engagement here.
Make sure it gets on the camera.
Yeah, the engagement here just caused that to naturally happen. It's not the idea that he's actively wanting to open up the fingers.
It's not opening. It's just like the minute that you lower the wrist, immediately.
Yeah, this motion, right?
Yeah, when you do this, put your hand like the hand, and then when you do this, if you do that, it's tense.
Oh, so it's kind of like
alignment here. Here, look, here. You know, I'm here. Then the minute I do this, it opens immediately.
I'll tell you what. Show it one more time on the camera.
Here, fingers are together.
Yep.
Now, if I'm gonna play a scale, when you lower here, like Paco was doing, he straightened that, and then immediately you see the finger open. See how separation between my M and the I?
Yeah.
And the A finger? See? Now if I relax, they come together. If I bring it down, I already engage. I just kind of play with the fingers like that because the nail's too long. I'm gonna show you something like I'm awkward now because I haven't done it in a while, but like first stroke, I and A. See? So in order to get it, oh, yeah. So here. Also, when you lower the wrist, the movement comes only from these two joints. See how I move very little in that one, and this one, look, versus this. Now it's here. It's driven all the way here.
Yeah, it's more knuckle joint versus.
That's what I do when I compensate by lower. Not me. That's what happens when you compensate lower.
It makes sense because as the wrist drops, I mean, obviously I'm using the wrist now instead of the arm, but like it brings the fingers in.
Then naturally you have this relaxation. See, here versus here. That's farther away from the.
Let me record it from this angle. More time.
When the Paco thing, when he straightens here, when he does that, the release is here. If you go in a little bit higher, then the release is much farther out.
Kind of like with the left hand, it's analogous.
The thing that allows you so much natural relief.
The left and right hand are very similar, just the left hand's upside down.
Yeah, just different angles. But like, first of all, he always play a little bit coarse with the drop, leaning the hand towards the thumb.
Yep.
He always does this. And then, so
he kind of pulls the arm back and the forearm contact point gets closer to the wrist, and then that lets you sort of set it up the way you would. Yeah.
So here.
Then you can get the engagement that you get.
He does this because here, he can go into Rascal. It is here, yeah? That's why they lean towards here, plus the I and M here. he goes, then engage. Sure. And just very unbalanced like this, but here, because this shear needs to be a little higher.
Yeah.
Because it's pushing me back.
Yeah.
So you need to be here. So immediately by coming forward.
So so Marshall and I had a conversation about this, and
Marshall.
yeah, how much
And
of that
Marshall
Rene. How much of the volume that comes from the activating is gravity, like they do with a bow, versus like does your setup help?
Yes. If you have the guitar that it doesn't have the inclination, then your volume. See, and I immediately have to be more relaxed. I cannot dig.
Yeah.
That immediately improves the volume. See?
Yeah.
Same attack here. And see with a little tilt. So do I have gravity?
Now I still think it's mainly the activation, but I think that the gravity helps.
Yeah, of course. There's activation there 80% versus gravity 20 or 90-10, whatever you want to call it. In percentage.
I'm almost done. Now, do you think? Because one thing I saw Grisha, and you see that when he does like a really fast rest stroke, you see the fingers kind of go like that.
Yeah, he likes to extend, but look at Paco. Paco
Yeah.
doesn't extend, so there are deviations with everyone. Like Grisha keeps her wrist head banging, and then uses the whole thing, which it also can work, you know. But then you can find someone like Paco doing this, like here.
Is part of the reason he's able to do that short nails?
Also, yes, correct. Also, it gives direction, you know. So it is like this.
Yeah. He's very perpendicular to the strings versus if you're coming at an angle and you're like dragging through more. There's more flesh contact, so you're kind of dragging versus just being hit on. Whether you're doing wrist flexion like Grisha or doing more of the Paco or like you for free stroke, is that what Carl Navarro's getting at when he says the tokes and the hafio or whatever, he there's the dot there, like that's what we're talking about basically? Okay. Yeah, you see the flamencos do that to make the thumb stiff too for the stroke.
For the support. So they move it all the way from here, from the base.
Do you think part of that is that when you do something like if we use Grisha as an example, it's almost like the fingers are a little bit stiff, you know, so you can just...
So you're moving it as a unit, and you also get more nail contact when you do this. Because if I can do it like that, not the same nail contact.